الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. أما بعد, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala tells us in His glorious book in Surah As-Saffat, chapter 37 and verse 75, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وَلَقَدْ نَادَانَا نُوحٌ فَلَنِعْمَ الْمُجِيبُونَ. Indeed, Noah cried out to us, and how excellent are we in responding. As humans, we are created weak. That's weaknesses in our nature, and it's for our best interest. Everyone without exception at some point in their life will go through times, rough times, where they need help. They need a lot of help. So who do you go to when you get in really big trouble? There are troubles that are so big, nobody can help you. Only one. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So everyone will go through these tough times, whether it's sickness, whether it's poverty, whether it's oppression, humiliation. There are so many, bad stages that we can go through in life that we need a lot of help. And when you call upon, whoever you call upon must have three characteristics if you want help. If you just want to call and no response, it's up to you. But if you want a response, there has to be three qualities in whoever you call and ask for help from. The first one is they must hear you. They have to hear you. The second one is they can help. They have the ability to help you. And the third one is they want to help you. They love you. They care for you. They want to help you. If you break any of those three, you're not going to get any help. One of your friends could be a very powerful person, very connected. Here's my phone. If you need anything, just give me a call and you'll have it. I'll pull all kinds of string for you. Well, that person his phone might be off. His phone might be out of work. He may not hear the phone ring. So just because you have his number doesn't mean you're going to reach him. So the second one is if your brother is right next to you, he hears you. He hears your plight, your plea for help, but he's helpless. He can't, I hear you, I feel for you, but I'm sorry, I can't help you. I cannot help you here. And, the third one is the person may hear you, he may be able to help you, but he doesn't like you. So he's not going to help you. So you have to have all these three qualities in whoever you call, whoever you ask help from. And no one qualifies for ni'ma al-mujibun, the best responders except Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Because with Allah, He hears you without you even moving your lips. In your heart, you may be calling and crying to Allah, Ya Allah, I need you. I'm in trouble. Nobody can help me except you. I need your help. Whatever it is, your lips are not moving, but Allah hears you. Because your heart is saying it, Allah hears you. And nobody hears like that, only Allah. Prophet Yunus alayhi salam called from the most unlikely, is there a bigger disaster than finding yourself in the belly of a whale in the middle of night in the middle of the ocean? I don't think there's any bigger calamity it's certain death. By human calculations, it's certain death. But he called from that spot to Allah, and Allah saved him. And Allah gives us these stories in the Quran, not just to be stories, but lessons to learn from. Allah was telling us, if I heard my servant in the middle of the ocean, in the most unlikely places, I can hear you. And Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala, when He hears you, He can deliver. He can break the norms that we all get accustomed to. He can break them to help you. The flame would not burn Sayyidina Ibrahim. He called upon Allah. The whale did not digest, the Prophet Yunus. So Allah Ta'ala can break the norms and can help you. So ask Him. There is nothing impossible to Allah. It may be impossible in our mind, but there is nothing impossible to Allah. Stage 10 cancer is not even a challenge to Allah. Call on Him. Whatever it is that you need, call on Allah. He hears you, He can help you, and He loves the believers. We are His servants, and He loves us. And He actually gets angry if you don't call on Him and don't ask Him. People may get annoyed when you ask them, but not Allah. Allah will get angry at you if you don't ask Him for help. So go for Allah, and Allah says, فَلَنِعْمَ الْمُجِيبُونَ. I am the best responder. So the story of Sayyidina Nuh, وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَأَهْلَهُ مِنَ الْكَرْبِ الْعَظِيمِ وَجَعَلْنَا ذُرِّيَّتَهُمُ الْبَاقِينَ in verses 76 and 77. We delivered him and his family from the great distress and made his descendants the sole survivors. He spent 950 years calling his people to Allah. And all he got from them, I think the best estimates of the people that followed him in those 950 years is 80 people. 80 out of all of the people that were there. A lot of them were so rotten that father after son, the father will tell his son, he's a crazy person, don't listen to him. They do it generation after generation. 950 years he was calling his people to Allah, and all he got from them is ridicule, rejection, and violence. That's all he got from them, but he kept calling. Until it got to the point where Allah told them nobody else is going to believe. That's it. Whoever has believed, that's it. Nobody can. And the rest of them are going to be destroyed in Al-Karb Al-Azim, in the great flood that came in and killed everyone. There was nobody left on the face of this earth except those people that were with Sayyidina Nuh in the ark. So وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَأَهْلَهُ, أهله here doesn't mean his family. It means the believers in this verse, because the believers were his family. And their descendants are the descendants of today's people. Everybody else was destroyed. Allah destroyed it and did not leave anybody on the face of the earth except the believers. So there are great distresses that come at us from all direction. And when Allah describes it as Karb al-Azim, it's the type of affliction that when it comes at you from all directions, and you're just like, you walk dazed and confused. You don't know what to do. That's when those calamities come. They're a disaster. So these are wars. Wars. If you look at people in the middle of a war, they're like dazed and confused. They don't know what to do. Natural disasters, extreme poverty, persecution, terminal sickness. These are all Karb al-Azim. And I'm young enough to know, to remember Katrina when the flood came in and to New Orleans, and you look on the news and people are kind of climbing up into their attic because the water keeps rising and rising, and they're stuck in their attic and they drowned in their attics. Or they were on top of their house. That's Karb al-Azim. When a distress like that comes, who else? Who else is going to help you? Who else has the power to come and help you and hear you and can help you? Only Allah Ta'ala. And He puts us in these situations to know that nobody else can help you except me. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِ فِي الْآخِرِينَ سَلَامٌ عَلَى نُوحٍ فِي الْعَالَمِينَ. And we blessed him with honorable mention among later generations. Peace be upon Noah among all people. It's such a great thing when you have a great mention after you're gone. And that's believers of Allah that are doers of good. People miss them. It could be hundreds of years later and people will say, Ya Allah, please forgive them. They may be scholars, they may be people that helped other people. That's the thana al-hasan, is to have a good reputation, a good mention. That should be the goal of every believer. So when your name is mentioned long after you're gone, people will say, Allah yarhamu. May Allah may Allah forgive him and grant him this and grant him that and grant him heaven. Compare that to people evil people that every time their name is mentioned, people curse them. People curse them and wish that they be thrown in the depth of hell. There's a difference between being a doer of good, honorable, held in high esteem, and a lowlife that everybody hates. So the story of Prophet Noah is done. That story happened once upon a time. There were bad people, there were good people. The good people were saved, the bad people were destroyed. The story is done. But the stories in the Quran are not stories for themselves. They're a lesson. And Allah made that story into a law in the following verse. In verse 80. إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Indeed, this is how we reward the good doers. Allah made it as a law. If you are afflicted by karb azim, by a great affliction, be a doer of good and Allah will save you. Just like He saved Noah, just like He saved Moses, just like He saves Sayyidina Ibrahim, just like He saved many people. The examples are abundant. So Prophet Noah was a doer of good and Allah saved him. So be a doer of good like Prophet Noah, like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like the Sahaba, and see how Allah will treat you. When troubles come at you, everybody is suffering, but Allah saves you from it. That's Allah says, if you're a doer of good, that's the words of Allah. You want Allah to save you from al-karb al-azim, you have to be a doer of good. That's the price. إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. You have to be from among al-muhsinin. And ihsan is to act according to sunnah, to do everything in the best way possible. You're muhsin in your prayers. You're muhsin in your acts of worship. You're muhsin at your work. You're muhsin with your family. You're a doer of good in your society. You are a door of good, opener, a door of goods, and closer of doors of evil. That's what a muhsin is. If you are a muhsin, then you have nothing to worry about, because Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala is with you, with His protection, with His, He will support, protect, provide, bless, facilitate, and save you from all calamities. إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. So when we read the Quran, we have to find these laws. You have to find these laws that apply to us, because that story is not about Prophet Noah. That story is for us. Prophet Noah, he's already with Allah. That story is for us, for every one of us. That when trouble comes to you, you be a doer of good and you turn to Allah, and He will save you from it. So the one thing maybe I'll talk about the karb al-azim and the saving from that in another khutbah. But I want to just talk about فَلَنِعْمَ الْمُجِيبُونَ. The most excellent responder, which is Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, that when we ask only Allah. After you ask Allah, you can ask other people, but in your heart you know that only Allah will deliver. That's okay. Because you're al-akhd bil asbab. You're following, you're doing your part, but deep down in your heart, you know that only Allah will open that door and nobody else. Then He may do it directly or He may do it through other people. But when we call Allah, we must be greedy. This is one time when greed is justified. You want more. You can never have enough. When you ask Allah, insist. Ask for whatever you want. You have no needs. I mean, you have no problems. You have nothing to ask for. Is a house, a job, a family, and a nice car, that's all you want in this life? You have nothing to ask for? Ask. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala says, فَلَنِعْمَ الْمُجِيبُونَ. I will answer. I will provide whatever you want. Ask me. You don't ask people who cannot provide. You ask the one who actually has it and can provide, which is Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. So ask. Don't be satisfied with whatever little that you have. Ask for more. Ask from the best of what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked for. and seek refuge in Allah from what Prophet Muhammad has sought refuge from. Ask Allah for Jannah, for paradise. That's the ultimate gift. I mean, that's if you have Jannah, you don't care about anything else. Ask Him for that. Ask for Jannah and everything that gets you close to it, in speech and in action. Because asking for Jannah without working is a sin, actually. You have to work for it. You want Jannah? Ask for it, but work for it. Be a doer of good. Ask Allah for protection from hellfire and everything that gets you in it. So don't get to a dead end with Allah where you are so far gone that you need a karb azim. You need a great affliction to bring you back. Allah has a lot of medicines. And when one medicine doesn't work, the medicine goes up. 5 milligram, 20, 30, 100, 200, 500. Allah has an infinite pharmacy. He knows how to treat us. If don't get to the point where you deserve a karb azim to bring you back to the straight path. Stay on the straight path where it's safe. That's what is safest. Be a doer of good to be saved from that treatment. So when calamities befall, call upon Allah Ta'ala because He's the only one who can help. And if you are a doer of good, then have no fear. Because Allah Ta'ala is with you and He will save you from it and every other, from your enemies and from any other disaster, natural or man-made or whatever it is. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه إنه الغفور الرحيم.